What are the most important issues facing Sterling and Lancaster
today? Well, I'd first like to thank the joint committees, the Democratic Town Committees of Lancaster, Clinton, and Sterling, principally for having this debate today. I'd also like to recognize Representative Harold Naughton, who's here today, as well as Federal Senate candidate Ed O'Reilly. Thank you for coming and participating today, as well as everybody here. The principal issues that are facing Sterling today, in my opinion, are the collaboration that needs to be undertaken with the most pressing issue, is what needs to be done with the Wiki-Piki issue that's now currently being discussed between Clinton and Sterling. That issue, I think, more than anything else, is a huge, huge issue that, quite frankly, the balance between economic development and conservation and what needs to be done with the agreement that needs ultimately to be in place. But I think more than anything else, that along with that issue that I'd like to discuss a little bit later, there's also economic development issues too as well with regard to obtaining more financial aid or assistance from the state to assist Sterling with not only Chapter 70 funding, but also to assist Sterling with regard to their Chapter 70 funding and the loss of same to the various charter schools too as well, and the state to step up to the plate and reimburse to the tune of dollar for dollar the dollars that will be used or lost with Chapter 70 funding that is leaving leaving the community to go and follow the students to various charter schools.
Thank you. Representative Flanagan, the same question to you. What are the most important issues facing Sterling and Lancaster?
First, I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight. I know this is such an important night for us to be able to talk amongst voters and amongst the people of our communities. The Wiki-Piki issue is certainly very important to the local communities. Leominster had been in also talks with Clinton to talk about a backup water plan. And I think also, in addition to local aid in Chapter 70 and economic development, we also have to look at the transportation issues of the smaller towns. I know that the legislative delegation, with the help of Representative Naughton in the lead, certainly has secured money for transportation studies. And I think moving our residents around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is certainly one of the issues. But we also need to pay attention to what's happening in our school systems. It's important that we fund as many programs as possible for our students. It's not just about MCAS. It's about learning in many different curriculums in many different areas, and we need to, as a legislature, to pay attention to what's happening in our school systems and also to the busing situations that we have for many of our districts. So I think that as we go forward, you're going to hear a lot about the money aspect of it, because everyone needs more money. But when it comes down to it, the residents really need to know that their transportation issues are being addressed and that their water supplies are being protected.
Thank you. Thank you. Recently, the town of Clinton investigated the possibility of selling water on land that it owns in the Wiki-Piki watershed here in Sterling to a commercial bottling company. For a time, relations between the two towns were tense. Not only would such a project affect Clinton and Sterling, it could have also impacted Leominster and Lancaster, which are also in the Wiki-Piki watershed area. As state senator, you would be the only elected representative of all the towns affected by such a project. What do you see as the role of the state senator in intermunicipal disputes?
We've seen intermunicipal agreements between Leominster, Lancaster, and Lunenburg, which took many years to decipher with the sewer project that we had there. And as I was part of those discussions and part of those negotiations, I think the role of any legislator, whether it be a senator or a representative from the district, to be a partner to that community. This is a local issue. This is an issue that the local selectmen need to decide what they would like to have done. As a senator and as an elected official, you have the responsibility to work alongside your municipal officials and not to come in and tell them how to do it or what to do with it. So as a senator, I would certainly stand behind them. I would certainly work with them, but also knowing that this is a decision that ultimately the municipalities and the towns need to make.
Same question. Bob, Lance, Sterling has a long history of working collaboratively with other cities and towns in their district. They work collaboratively on the regional school district that they participate in, the Wachusett Regional School District. They operate and collaboratively with the Montechusett Regional Technical Vocational School District. They work collaboratively with other communities on the Wachusett Collaborative. They work with the Moore Organization. They work collaboratively with Citizens Empowerment of Sterling and the CIC, which principally is the committee that informs the citizen area in Sterling about the Wiki-Piki issue. There are discussions that are ongoing with the two principal players in this issue, the Select Board in Clinton and the Select Board in Sterling. And from what I've read, I understand that collaborative effort to be working with one another. Now, the job of the state senator is to ensure that that continues, that they communicate with one another, that Sterling, Lancaster, Leominster, and Clinton communicate with one another in an open and free flow of communication to address this very important conservation and economic development issue, too, as well. This is a high price tag issue, too, as well. And people need to understand that. But at the end of the day, the job of the state senator is to facilitate that discussion and ensure that those communication lines are kept open.
Thank you.
Well,